Everybody, hey, this is Kameel with the Rig on Wheels show, and this is your first ever truck driver recruitment show. I am your host and your CEO and founder of Rig on Wheels Broker and Recruitment Services. Of course, we got our famous VP of recruitment at MVT Mesilla Valley, but guess what? We got a special guest, the recruitment manager over there at MVT. So we got Amy.
Hello.
Okay, what brings you here with us? I'm so excited.
I'm excited to be here. Robert Pierson needed a second person
Okay.
to accompany him, so I'm here.
So you like security or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly what it is.
Amy's been with the company since when? When did you join MVT?
I started in 2014, so I've been with the company 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And Amy has a unique experience with the company. She's good to have on here. Has family in the industry outside of just MVT, and so she brings a unique perspective of that of the drivers. And she interacts with drivers both domestically as well as the folks that we bring in from overseas. And so there's not really a part of what we do from a recruiting standpoint that you may not see, Amy, as you come in the door. But there's a chance that if you were brought on to MVT at some point, Amy has touched your file, your information to make sure that you get hired on and get the process started correctly.
Well, I know Amy deals with all of my emails. So
Yes.
I'm like, what kind, like, she deals with every facet of everything. But I promise you, this is going to be a nice, friendly show, even though he needed security to be here with him. Because we go over everything from industry insights, news, hot jobs, driver tips, and recruitment tips. But right now, we're going to get into the news. I promise you, I think we are just a perfect country. So we don't have a lot of bad news because our diesel went down. Our government is just agreeing with everything that I want at this moment. So, I mean,
Yeah, we've spent the last few months talking about government shutdown and stuff in DC. It's nice not to have a lot of news to talk about on that front. It's kind of unusual to say, hey, the sky's not falling. You talked a little bit about it fuel-wise, down to $3.94. That's down 4.5 cents a gallon. Gas actually followed suit, down a penny and a half on a gallon. So sitting at $3.94. The big thing, as we've talked about in previous shows with fuel, it's a lagging indicator. Most of your companies that you're with get a fuel surcharge that generally resets. Of course, with it being a lagging indicator, when fuel prices are going up, you want to slow the truck down, make sure that you're probably sitting around 62 miles an hour because you have to siphon as much of that fuel as you possibly can. The nice thing is fuel goes down, you're getting a fuel surcharge that technically adds a couple pennies to your bottom line as a driver. And so the key on that end is you don't want to speed, but you can kind of speed up a little bit on the road, squeeze some more miles in, and it might be a week that, look, if you can squeeze in an extra load for the week, it ends up paying dividends for you. So I'm excited to see that. Hopefully that trend continues as the weather warms up and people start hitting the roads for summer. You know, let's hope that doesn't happen, but it eventually could here. But while the time's going, let fuel go down.
I just know that it's 7.1 cents less expensive. Well, it's a good thing to say cheaper with this, right? This is a good thing to say cheaper with. It's not our clothes, right? So it's 7.1 cents cheaper this time than last year. Last year it was 7.1 cents more expensive, right? So let's talk about the cost of what's going on with dry van, flat, and reefer.
Yeah, I know dry van's down this week. It's at about $1.93. Flatbed continues to go up, has gone up, I want to say, 7 out of the last 10 weeks now at this point. And reefer's held down as well. It's somewhat suppressed, but this is a lagging indicator, would be for the previous week. What we're seeing this week is freight starting to go up in a number of markets. I know there's been some issues getting freight across the border in the U.S.-Mexican border. Last week that appeared to free up here. Starting to see signs that the market's freeing up. This started with flatbed about 10 weeks ago. Reefer and dry van starting to follow suit. Flatbed sitting, what, 224 a gallon? Not a gallon, 224 a mile now.
Yeah, flat is 249.
We're starting to see it expand, though, and based off of what I'm hearing from many people out on the road anecdotally, is a lot of shippers are starting to have those conversations and understanding that they're not going to be able to use the spot markets to move their freight dirt cheap. So those rates over the next several weeks should continue to improve.
Yeah, and then reefer is 210. So
Yeah.
Pearson is trying to read my handwriting. I was supposed to be a doctor or a serial killer.
Did that say Xanax?
Yeah.
No, not Xanax. Not Xanax.
One of the two. I wrote a prescription. That's what we got going on here. But let's talk about the increased revenue with Saya. I mean,
Yeah, Saya is in a pretty good position here. A lot of the companies this week are starting to release their first quarter results. If you look, Saya, their total profits increased 19.2% on revenue that was up 14.3%. Now, part of that's being gradually impacted by what they took on during the Yellow freight drop. With Yellow gone, Saya, of course, being LTL, is going to pick up a lot of that freight. Should see Swift reap some of the benefits of Yellow not being around. So that's a little artificial there. If you look at ArcBest, where they reported $1 billion in revenue for the first quarter, that's technically down 6.3%. That's probably more representative of what people are experiencing that were not impacted by Yellow. So definitely mixed results. The key thing in a lot of these calls, if you listen to the financial calls for most of these publicly traded companies, most everybody is now optimistic for the second half of the year. They're expecting anywhere between a 3 to 5% on freight. And if it goes up 3 to 5% with what we've talked about with drivers falling out of the industry, that means it's going to feel closer to 10 or 15% improvements here. So as a driver, this is why it becomes really important right now that if you are going to change jobs, this is really the time to do it. You do not want to be doing it 90 days from now. As most drivers will tell you that are experienced, hey, don't change jobs in December. If you're a dry van driver, you don't change a job in December because you are literally taking yourself out of the market during the busiest time of year for 2 weeks. We're starting to see the signs that the next 90 days are going to start to be real fun for a driver. So the key is to act now. If you are going to make a change and you need to get a new job, over the next 30 days is the time to do it. You do not want to be in the middle of the summertime looking for a job. And so as you, the positives from all these calls are, now's the time to act, because if you're doing it, you're going to cost yourself 2 to 3 weeks of lost revenue in the middle of the summer when you should be making the money that you should have been making 6 months ago.
Yeah, you have to look at yourself as a business because, you know, MVT, Rig on Wheels, we aren't the only businesses. You are yourself a business. So you have to think about it like that. Yourself, you are a business. So with June being a hot time, it's literally, we are all looking forward to June. If you've been following us, that's all I've been saying. June is the golden time. So the next 30 days is crucial. It's really going to be crucial. So if you're looking for a job, this is really the time to do it. So let's go. Let's get started because freight is going to be hopping. I am so excited. I just don't know what to do.
Well, the last 6 months have been so depressing. I'm glad to say that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Something I also want to say, if you all have any questions, please do any comments. You all can text it in as well at 281-968-3100. But also make any comments on any of wherever you all are looking at, is whether it's YouTube, and make sure you like and subscribe, but comment for any questions, and we'll do questions periodically. Bryce will read them off, and we'll do questions periodically during the show. First, I want to go ahead and, did you have any more?
We have one. We have Wabi. Wabi's one of the self-driving cars. They're opening a new terminal in the DFW market. As we were talking a little bit, we're going to see a lot more in the state of Texas self-driving cars. They're going to set one up in Lancaster, which those of you that have been through the DFW, you know there's a ton of trucking terminals out of Hutchins, Lancaster, DeSoto. You'll see a bunch of them. So with that said, that's one of the things we're going to be watching in the state of Texas. As we've talked about, nothing really to fear. The job of a driver is going to become more similar to that of a pilot. So self-driving is not necessarily the end of the world, or Amy and I would be in some trouble from a career perspective. But with that said, if you see a truck going down the road and you see that there's no one in the truck, that might be something to watch for. So we'll continue to follow that on this podcast here as that develops.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. And that's the reason why professional drivers is a must, because that's where it's all turning to. We still need drivers, but we're going to need the keyword professional drivers.
Yep.
That's the key phrase and the key term that we just need to stay focused on, is the professional driver part. So what we want to do now is go to commercial. Bryce, if you could take us to the commercial with Josue and talking about his tenure at MVT, because we want to start talking to Amy about her tenure at MVT as well.
All right, let's do it.
My name is Josue Fierro, and I am a recruiter, and I've been with Mesilla Valley going on 3 years now. Before I joined the Mesilla Valley Transportation family, I was at JCU as a loan officer. I feel that I acquired some skills there, providing customer service, learning, to listen to the customer and, learning patience. I think that helped me out right now where I'm at with Mesilla Valley Transportation, because I could actually apply those skills to what I do now, which is, helping drivers, getting them behind the wheel and getting them a job. So basically what I do here in recruiting, it's something good. We for sure give jobs to drivers, so it feels good, that we help people. Communication is great there in our departments, from leadership to employees. We have a good working environment there, and it feels homey. Like, it feels like a home environment. It feels a family-oriented environment. So, yeah. I guess I acquired skills here at Mesilla Valley Transportation. One of them would be knowledge of the transportation industry. I was not aware of the transportation. I was just more into financing, and I think it's good to know that transportation takes a big role in our country, and we do something good here. What made me apply to Mesilla Valley Transportation was basically word of mouth, the reputation that this company has. You see them everywhere on billboards, the trucks on the street. You see, you hear them in the news ads. So you see Mesilla Valley Transportation everywhere, and you just hear from people here, local people saying that Mesilla Valley is great. It's a great company to work for, and I was excited to join. My life changed when I joined Mesilla Valley Transportation in a big way. And one of them was them, of course, providing stability, giving me a peaceful state of mind, knowing that I could provide for my family, knowing that I could do what I do every single day without worries of, job security, in other words. And they actually helped me out a lot as well, as far as my daughter. She's 17. She wanted to get a first job in the summer. Marketing was able to go ahead and help me out, bring her in here as an internship over the summer, which she loved. She gained a lot of experience for her being her first job. Now she loves it. Now she wants to go to school for it and get a degree. So she's happy, and I'm happy. I would definitely recommend people to work here. It's ever since I walked here the first day, it felt like a family-oriented work environment. Everyone's smiling, everyone's friendly, everyone talks to you like if they know you for years. So for sure, if I had to go ahead and tell someone, I would definitely recommend someone to work here at Mesilla Valley. My name's Josue Fierro. I'm a driver recruiter, and MVT changed my life.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, so you all just heard Josue talking about how MVT changed his life, and Pierson and I was sitting in the office about a couple of hours ago, and we were talking about Amy. And I'm like, why is it that Amy knows how to do everything at MVT? Like, this is crazy. I can send an email, and she knows how to handle every situation. And he was telling me it's because she's done a lot of jobs at MVT. So I kind of want to go through like your career path and what's, how things get started, and you kind of guide me through it.
Okay. Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning. Like, so Cicely, 2014.
Yes.
You seem kind of young, so you don't even know what I'm talking about.
Well, not that young anymore. I was young when I started.
But do you know what I'm saying when I
Yes.
say Cicely, 2014? No. Oh, bless your heart. She doesn't.
Don't do the 2 and 2 thing.
Yeah,
No.
Okay, so you really don't know. Okay, but so let's talk about it. So 2014, you remember the month?
I started in March.
Okay, so it was March 2014, a nice spring day, El Paso.
St. Patty's Day. I started on St. Patty's Day, so it's my lucky day.
Okay, good green day. And were you a temp or you
No,
straight hire?
Yes, I started as a receptionist with the company.
Okay, so walk us through that.
So I started in 2014 as a receptionist. I did that for about 3 months, and then I was promoted to administrative assistant. From there, I did that for about 4 years, and then after that, I became a recruiting manager.
Okay, so how did that leap go? Tell her first. Okay, so you was an admin assistant.
Yes.
What was that? What does that look like at a trucking company?
So I was the middle person between recruiter and processor, let's just say. I was the black sheep of the department.
Okay, so
I
what
didn't
does
do
that
any
mean? That you,
recruiting, I didn't do any processing, but I was just that middle person.
but what does that job look like? Did you run the papers back and forth?
Yes.
Literally?
Yes.
Okay, I was joking.
Yes.
Okay.
I did all the paperwork.
Okay, so walk us through your day, literally.
As an administrative assistant?
Yeah.
So a lot of it focused on the back end of what a processor does, what a recruiter does. You have to be able to put in the job description. What is a perfect processor? What is a perfect recruiter? So in a sense, I did know of the job.
Okay. So basically, when we're telling, let's start with recruiters, right? So when we're telling the recruiters as a third party, because I'm a third party, to make sure that we have the entire application completed. Why is that important when it comes to you having to run the paperwork? Not anymore run, because
Yes.
everything is electronic, but
Yes.
running the paperwork over to the processor.
It's specifically important because it gets the job moving from one end to the other. It's hard to have that communication between the IR and the recruiter. But once all that information is inputted, then it makes it faster for us to process.
Okay, and the IR is the third party recruiter,
Yes.
guys, just to let you all know. That's our code language. That's our secret, what's it called? The treehouse? Whatever, you know, our language, our gang language. Okay, so that's the reason. Okay, so now for the driver being as open as possible, not that you lying, because we know no drivers intentionally lie, but the reason why they have to be as open as possible with us and transparent, because it wastes a lot of time.
Yes. At the end of the day, we just want to be able to help the driver, and the faster, the more complete the application is, it makes it a lot easier.
Okay, so it breaks down the barrier. You're not able to, when you were an admin assistant, weren't able to get things over to the processor, and the recruiter wasn't able to do, the internal recruiter wasn't able to do their job.
Yes.
If the driver wasn't talking to either, or wasn't being transparent with either the internal or the third party recruiter. Okay, perfect. Now we got this phone call. You walked in the office. You thought you was getting fired, but in turn they said you are getting promoted because you are the bomb. Okay.
I would like to think so.
And apparently we all think so, because I'm like, what
else do I do?
Right, what else do you do? Okay, so now you are a recruiting manager and you're super fantastic. Okay, great. Now, tell us the reasons why at your level, now you're at a much higher level, you have to control so much more. Why is the transparency and the communication between the third party recruiter, right? So the rig on wheels, the internal recruiter, which is Josue, and the processor, why is this all necessary?
It is completely necessary because at the end of the day, once it goes, let's say 3 people, you mentioned 3 people, it has already gone through 3 people. We still have to review that application of the driver. So it is very important that it is complete, because then, at the end of the day, the job gets done. We get to hire the driver and there is no hiccups.
Awesome.
And I think that's a very key point that Amy put out there. Our goal is to hire the driver. It is not to find a DQ. It is not to find a reason. Our goal, and how Amy, myself, how we make money, and even in your world, Kameel, how you make money, is through hiring a driver. The end result at the end of the day is we want to have a new coworker. So the caveat to that is making sure that the process is clean and crisp as possible. It starts at the driver level of that open communication and
Yes.
dialogue. Don't be afraid to say, I have a felony. Don't be afraid to say, I did this. I drove this
Right.
type of truck. The big thing on our end, if I can't hire you, I may be able to help you in finding a job elsewhere. And I know on your end with 40 clients, it may not be a fit for MVT, but it might be a fit someplace else.
Someplace else.
Once we start with that communication on the recruiter's end, it's important to have that same openness and communication. This is what we have. This is what we don't have. And then from that processor's end, that processor has a fiduciary interest in making sure that you are hired on. They want a new coworker. The caveat to this is generally at most trucking companies, this gets convoluted because of, silos and people saying this person does this thing. One of the key things that Amy does for us at MVT is removes those silos so that she is like the WD-40 of our department, is how I describe it.
Literally.
And that is a compliment.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I can attest to that personally. But I do want to get back to now you're recruiting manager. Let's talk about how MVT changed your life, because that is not we all want to be able to progress at a company, and that is how it goes. But everybody doesn't see that at every company, right? So let's talk about now. This is your commercial.
Yes.
Hi.
Well, it helped me grow as a person. I started when I was 21. I'm now 32. So I never thought I would be in the position I am right now at MVT. I didn't go to college. I got my GED. So that to me has been something that has definitely changed my life. And I am very fortunate to work for MVT because I don't see it in just me. I see it in others that work there as well.
Yeah, so you're definitely a role model. So I know that you all do a lot of going to schools, because Pierson goes to a lot of schools,
Yes.
and he gets invited back to a lot of schools to speak, and all that good stuff. So do you go to any schools and tell your story? Okay. You definitely need to,
Sure, yeah.
because it's a lot of girls like us, and they need to see that. They need to see you. Awesome. Okay. So you did you get your MVT before or after you started?
Did I know about MVT?
I mean, did I say MVT? Did you get your GED before? Or
I
after?
got my GED before.
Okay,
Because
before.
you have to
Okay.
have your GED before you apply.
Okay. So you got your GED, you became a receptionist 3 months later because you kicked butt, you became admin.
assistant.
Okay, and then you were there for 4 years in that position, running those papers back and forth. And then how long have now you've been, 6, 7 years?
I would
As a
say
recruitment?
5 years.
Okay. As a recruiting manager.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Did you have any questions for her?
No, I know Amy said no, but I think Amy brings up a very key point here. In your work environment, you want people that have purpose, that have function, that want to go from day to day. We've all gone to a restaurant, gone to a fast food restaurant, or going through the drive-through and deal with somebody that looks like they do not want to be there. You don't get good customer service. When someone is sitting there and going, do you want fries with that? They don't want to be there. They don't want to deal with you, and you pay a consequence in the customer service that you get. Generally speaking, if you can have an environment where people have purpose, have function, have goals, have aspirations, and they're able to play those out, it makes for a better working environment for everybody that interacts with those folks. And so that's one of the things that I think Amy's story is indicative of a lot of people within MVT, is having a purpose, having a reason. And it seems like a small thing. Career development has to be something as an industry that we talk more about. And it's not just as a driver, but as a driver, as an office personnel, all the way to the guard shack at the front of the building. People need to have purpose because it makes for a better working environment. And as a driver, drivers will tell you if they're being hired on, or if they're dealing with their dispatcher and they've been at a trucking company where the person's basically going, I got here at 8 and I'm leaving at 5. That environment's a horrible place to work. And so one of the things that we try to focus on at Mesilla Valley Transportation is having purpose. Everybody should have a purpose, a clear-cut goal and objective. and legitimate opportunity to expand their career and broaden their horizon, no matter what position they start at with the company. So that's where I think Amy and what she talks about has a lot of importance as far as representing how MVT may be different compared to XYZ trucking down the road.
And I want to, Nimmer had a driver to just ask this question. Did MVT send Amy to any trainings because of how you moved up?
So internally, we do have what I want to say, like coaching trainings, yes. But as far as trainings in any college or anything like that, no.
Yeah, I guess I think what and I want to say as a driver, let me stand back. Nimmer is a recruiter at Rig on Wheels, so let me start there. And I'm guessing he did not mean that any outside or any college. I meant trainings in order to move up within the company.
So as far as trainings to move up, no. When you are in a specific role, then at that point they do trainings as far as leadership.
Okay,
like
so
that.
you had trainings
Yes.
to be able to do your job.
Correct.
Okay, that's good.
And part of my job, Amy ultimately reports to me on paper. But part of my job here is that training and development part of it. So I can tell you that when I first joined MVT in May of 21, part of it has been giving Amy the ability to, hey, this is why I do this. Because theoretically, let's say I got hit by a bus tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But part of the objective of a good manager is that when you leave, things don't fall apart. When you leave, the steps and the processes that you put in place are able to be taken advantage of and then grown upon beyond that. So one of the things from a leadership standpoint that many people within the organization really focus on is, if I wasn't here tomorrow, would life keep going? Because if it all falls apart, that's poor management. When you leave and everything stops working, you've not done a good job as a manager. You've set people up for failure. And that takes a little bit of hubris. It takes a little bit of, everyone wants to go, oh, this company needs me, or it would fall apart. But that's not healthy. That mindset's not healthy. And so part of that comes down from a leadership standpoint of, hey, this is why we do this. This is how I do this. Amy, over the last couple of years, does a really nice job as far as decision making, coming up with ideas quickly. And more than anything, she is a subject matter expert at what she does for a living, which ultimately will help her in the long run with MVT. So trust me, when we sit down here for this exact same podcast 10 years from now, Amy most likely will be telling you I'm VP of recruiting or something similar at that nature. The individual comes into the company with some drive, some ambition and skill set. And then ultimately the company, since they invested their time, which is a big investment, has the obligation of investing into them taking that next step and next level of the organization.
You do a great job. I don't want you to get hit by a bus.
I'm thankful. I'm very thankful for that.
That's good. But
if you had asked what kind of bus, I'd be concerned.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. But also it helps with balance, because that allows you to be able to take on other things, to progress the company, to progress the department, and to grow the department, because you need him to continue to grow the department, right?
So I can keep my job.
Right. That part. I could stay your client.
Yeah.
Because if you don't continue to grow the department, then I can't stay his client, right?
Yep.
So, okay, don't say that. But surely that's the truth. But so, Bryce, I know you was texting. Did you have a question for us?
I do. I had a question come in for Amy. Amy, would you recommend more women to consider a career in trucking?
Oh, yes, of course. At MVT, we actually have a lot of women in management roles. So that is one thing that is very good where I work, because it's good to see, the VP of operations is a woman. So it's good to see that we can even be in a role like that.
Yeah, tell us why. I'm a why person.
As far as me, I just want to be a role model for my daughters. I have 3 daughters and I have 1 son. So I want them to see that it is something they can look up to and work hard for.
Yeah, you can't. TDJ says it's the best. You can't be what you can't see.
Yes.
See, I got that saying right.
Yep.
You can't be what you can't see.
Yes.
So it's very important. Did you have another question, or shall we move on?
I did have one more for Amy. Amy,
Oh.
is there any fun story you can tell about your time at MVT?
Oh God. Huh. That's a hard one.
It's just so fun there.
Yes.
We do not need HR on this podcast.
God, when that comes to mind is really hard. Huh.
It's recorded.
Do you want to answer it at the end of the episode?
Probably, yeah. I have to think about it.
Yeah.
I have to think about it.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned to the end. But what we'll do is go ahead, go to commercial, whatever commercial of your choice, Bryce, and we will follow your lead.
Hello, everybody. I'm DeAnthony Davis. I'm a truck driver from Cleveland, Texas. I've been driving for 3.5 years now. I recently saw a podcast with Rig on Wheels on YouTube. I gave them a call. They was fast. They was efficient. They helped me out. I didn't really want to be over the road, so they got me a good regional job. And hey, you should give them a call.
Welcome back, everybody. We got a treat for you. Oh my God. Amy was telling us about this on an exciting break. No, for real. We do, Amy, remember what, was really exciting for her at work. And I can't wait to hear about this because I guess it's not his story, it's your story. That's why I never heard about it. So tell us what's so exciting.
So part of what I do also is I work a lot with the visa drivers.
Tell us what that is.
So MVT sponsors drivers from Zimbabwe, Colombia to help with the visa. Mm-hmm. So we do have the sponsorship, which they bring those drivers to work for MVT. And we have been doing that, 4 years now? About 4 years now? And what I enjoy most about it is that a lot of the drivers will bring their spouse or their family to the US and they introduce them to me. So I definitely enjoy that experience because it's something that MVT assisted with and I get to meet their family. And a lot of them have their kids, which they're now adults, work for MVT as well. I have one of the visa drivers that has a wife and the son.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So you get to see the lineage.
Yes.
And so MVT literally has changed their life, like generations.
Yes.
I like that.
So
Do
that's a fun
you
experience.
know how many visa drivers we have at this point?
We have about 90.
90, yes.
That's awesome.
They come from all walks of life, all over the place. And, we talk a lot in this country about immigration. These are hardworking individuals, literally want to accomplish their version of the American dream.
I love it.
And so it's a very intricate process that Amy helps to work them through of them coming over here, them being trained. They were a driver in their previous homeland, but ultimately getting their family over here, getting their life set up, and they have very close relations with Amy because they generally don't forget who helped bring me to the U.S. It's a really cool thing, and we've had a direct impact on a lot of very professional people from all sorts of walks of life, 5,000 miles away.
I love that. And that is that's great. And that that just proves the great diversity in our industry and what it takes actually to bring goods from one place to another, and nothing literally goes on your table, in our mouth, or anywhere if it wasn't for a truck driver. So to be able to bring someone from another country, help them with their visa, their form of the American dream, because everyone's form of American dream is different. Even with us, we're very diverse, you know, and so our form of American dream is very different, and will be different for them as well.
Correct.
But then to now have their children that are grown, you've been there that long, right? So that their children that are grown are now your drivers as well.
Yes.
They gotta feel good.
Yes. It
That-
definitely does.
That's awesome. That's really good. And that actually just brings us right to the calendar, right? So we're on wheels. That just brings us right to the calendar. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right? Look
You're
at there.
welcome.
Just look at there. Amy is amazing. It's a very good recruiting.
Oh, great segue.
Yeah, yeah.
Professional.
Look at there. You're just a natural at
Yes.
this whole podcast show thing, huh? But Rig on Wheels has a product line. It's called Faces of the Road, and this is where we celebrate the diversity of the American heroes, right? Celebrate the diversity of the truck drivers. You're able to go directly to the website and purchase the calendar, and it shows on every page the different diversity. Right, we're still in April. April is never ending. However, this is the last day. It's the last
Yes.
Tuesday of the month. So tomorrow starts the May, which is Asian Awareness Month. So we have a lot of Punjab drivers, which Indian drivers, but a lot of Punjab drivers in the United States, as well as owners. So I wanted to definitely highlight them in our May calendar, but I'm on our May page, I guess I should say. And then also on here, May 14th through the 16th is International Road Check Week. So I know we have been beating this like a dead horse, and then when Pierson wasn't here because he was playing hooky, Josue and Nimmer and I probably had 45 minutes of talking about it, because there's two parts of the International Road Check Week, and it's all within North America, Canada, United States, and Mexico, where they're doing the air brake and the drug and alcohol clearinghouse. So basically, when you're going through weigh stations or any checkpoints, they're going to definitely be making sure or trying to check to see about your clearinghouse situation. There are so many drivers that are in the clearinghouse, however, have not even started their process of going through the SAP program. They've been referred to it, but haven't even started. So, of course, that means there are not even enough that have completed it. That brings even more of a shortage. So, of course, you have different specialized drivers that we need, all the way to the drivers that we need at MVT that are just drive-in, but we can't do that if you haven't done what you need to do, or if you're in the program at all. So this is the point. Say no to drugs, right, Amy?
Yes.
Isn't that what you tell your kids?
Yes.
Remember that commercial?
Oh, I do. I remember all those things. I remember the frying pan and the egg.
Yeah, frying
Yeah.
pan and an egg. Even though on one of the segments I made it Smokey the Bear.
Yes, that's
Yes,
right. Yeah.
I made it Smokey the Bear. It was the wrong saying.
I'm not sure the forest rangers appreciate it.
Yes, I said the wrong saying. But on the back of the calendar, it says inclusivity is our fuel, diversity is our engine, and unity is our destination. So definitely pick up your calendar. Everyone is represented within the calendar, and it also has the important dates that are very important to the trucking industry exclusively.
Yeah, it's a nice calendar. My kids love it. The key to remember here, because most people when they envision a trucker, Smokey and the Bandit, and though those people do exist, there is no stereotypical trucker. They come from all walks of life, male, female, from all religions, all ethnic and national backgrounds. It's a really important reminder. So if you have anybody that's young and interested, or older and interested in the transportation industry, calendar is a very nice segue to kind of get the idea that, hey, I don't look like Burt Reynolds going down towards Atlanta with a hot load, but this industry is still for me.
That's right.
So it's one of those things that you can get at all fine retailers. If they don't have the calendar, they're not a fine retailer. I'm looking at you, Walmart. Where can they get that calendar?
You can go directly to the Rig on Wheels site and click on the tab that says the Roast Store, and you will be able to get the calendars, other purchases on there as well. And then we'll have a new purchase that'll be a surprise next week for the little kitties. Okay, that'll be for the Faces of the Road as well. But as of now, you go right to the Roast Store, which is at rigonwheels.com. So Bryce, if you just take us to the Rig on Wheels commercial, and then we'll be back in 2 and 2. I bet you don't know where that's from. Oh. Welcome back, everybody. This is the moment you've been waiting for. I probably could have said that each time. I'm just so happy Amy is here. She just know how to do everything in the company. She answered all my emails. We were in the office, and I was sending her emails while she was here. I was like, oh, look at this. I can get this approved while we sit here. But no. Really, we're going to start with the hot jobs. We got the man right here. So the man with the plan. We got a lot of good freight happening.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, even if you don't see a division that applies to the market that you live in, if you live in places like Portland, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, Phoenix, El Paso, Dallas, Fort Worth, Laredo, Houston, San Antonio, Nashville, Little Rock, St. Louis, Memphis, even Jacksonville, Florida, or Louisville, Kentucky. Keep in mind, if you don't see a division that quite fits where you live, we do have opportunities. Plus, if you live beyond those areas, again, Rig on Wheels should get a call because they have other customers that they can work with. Division 110, we're looking for teams specifically. If you live out of Albuquerque, Dallas, Fort Worth, or El Paso, Texas, teams on this are generally averaging really good money, where a whole team's going to average anywhere between $3,400 to $3,800 a week. That ends up being about $1,600 to $1,800 for an individual. So if you're a spouse, if you have a lifelong friend, or you just work at another trucking company, the two of you are kumbaya and want to go ahead and make more money running as a team than solo, wonderful opportunity, again, out of DFW, El Paso, and Albuquerque, very popular division for teams, and really nice running areas. You'll see a lot of I-40, you'll see a lot of I-10. Occasionally we go up to the Northwest and Portland about 10% of the time. Really good, strong customer base. Most of the customers that we have on this particular division have been customers with us for at least 10 years. So these are people that have seen MVT. It's not relying on broker freight. This is direct customer freight, non-seasonal, meaning this is going to be 52 weeks a year that you're going to be able to stay busy in Division 110. So that's one of the divisions we'll focus on. Let's go to the second division here.
Division.
There
Oh,
we
look
go.
at that. I like that. Was fancy.
Yeah.
Did you see what she did? That was
Look at that.
fancy.
Bryce showing off. All right, Division 400. Mid-Atlantic Regional, if you live out of the Nashville area, what we call the Northeast is not the Northeast. You will not see our trucks up in New York City. You will not see our trucks up in New England. Our version of the Northeast is basically central Pennsylvania, places like Carlisle, Allentown, Scranton. Occasionally, we'll get as far north as Ithaca, New York, but for the most part, it's going to be central Pennsylvania, going back and forth, plus little short runs around the Tennessee and Kentucky area. This is a position that pays drivers about $90,000 to $95,000 a year annually. Home weekly home time on that end, which is attractive. Again, weekly average is $1,740 a week. Plus, with this division, there's a productivity and safety bonus. So it could be 2 cents or 5 cents retroactively on your month's miles. So as an example, if you had no tickets, no accidents, no late deliveries, left the house when it was time to get out of the house and get back to work again, we will retroactively go back and put that money onto your miles that you ran for the month. It makes a big deal and ends up representing anywhere between $5,000 to $8,000 more per year by those bonuses. The nice thing with it being monthly, we're not holding you hostage, so it doesn't mean that you had one minor slip up. Let's say you had a late delivery 2 weeks ago. Well, the end of the month is today. Literally, May would start anew, and you'd start with a fresh slate, so it doesn't hold you back from reaching your full potential from a financial standpoint. So again, if you live within a 75-mile radius of Nashville, very attractive spot. We have about 20 folks on this division right now. Need to get that up to about 25 or 30. We have the freight to support it. Really good customer base, both inbound and outbound out of Nashville.
Don't tell Deborah you need 25 drivers.
Oh, she'll get busy. I know.
Yeah.
She'll be excited. And let's look at Division 430 if we could, Bryce.
Okay, round 2 for my next trick.
I can't wait for next week. She's going to have the fireworks with it. It's going to be exciting. Division 430, if you live in the Jacksonville area, the least stressful running area that you can get running OTR. Literally, it's a lot of I-10. So you're going to leave Jacksonville. You're going to go to Houston. You're going to go to Laredo, come back up 69 over to Houston, and hit I-10 all the way back to Jacksonville. Round trip takes about 4.5 days. So every 4.5 days to 5 days, you're at home for your reset. Get a lot of home time so you can have a life outside of the truck. Generally on this position, you're going to be averaging anywhere between $1,100 to $1,250 a week. If you live in Jacksonville, you know, if you're an experienced driver in Jacksonville, every recruiter is trying to send you north and east. So you're either going up I-95, which if you do that, there's nothing like coming up on that Georgia-South Carolina border where I-95 goes from 6 lanes unexpectedly down to 4, and you get to sit for 2 hours before you even get up in the Northeast and deal with that fun. Or they send you to Atlanta where you're going to be on 285, which is essentially a slow-moving parking lot if you're in a truck. With this, you're going to run I-10. There's no traffic issues excluding Houston and around Houston. If you pre-plan correctly, you can avoid the worst of it. You're not going to have to deal with huge snowstorms and slush and sleet. Generally speaking, this lane, when you look at the 50-plus drivers that we have on Division 430, they will tell you they like how stress-free this division is. It's simple. It's plain. The key piece of this here is we have a really good relationship with Lowe's out of Valdosta, Georgia. About 60% of the freight that we do on this is going to be Lowe's. Really close working relationship. They continue to award us with new business as well as recognition for the professionalism of our drivers on the account. So about 60% Lowe's with FAK or freight all kinds coming back generally towards the Florida area. So really attractive division out of Jacksonville. Did you have a question on 430?
No, what I was going to say, yes.
Oh, go.
What I was going to say is since Division 430 is my favorite division, how many more drivers do you predict out of your crystal ball that we're going to need?
About 20. And I will tell you that even though we're presenting this as a solo job, we have opportunities for teams out of Jacksonville as well. Generally with teams, they're going to end up going out, coming back, going out, coming back. So they do 2 round trips instead of the 1. Teams on this are seeing anywhere between, as a collective team, between $3,200 to $3,500 a week. But yeah, we're currently at 50, could get up to 70. We're going to hire generally 3 a week until we reach that number. Have a very low turnover on that end. So I would expect this division to be filled in about 6 weeks. So the key is to act now. If this is a division that's interesting to you, have that conversation, call Rig on Wheels. Let's have that discussion. because 6 weeks from now, this division most likely is going to be full. Because once we get to the right number of drivers, we stop hiring. We always want to make sure that the freight levels equal to what the driver count is. Because at the end of the day, if you hire one too many drivers, 60 to 70 other drivers pay the consequence for that one hire.
Definitely.
Again, if this division interests you, Division 110, Division 400, or you live out of Portland, Oregon, Salt Lake City, Phoenix, Albuquerque, El Paso, Denver, DFW, Houston, Laredo, San Antonio, Memphis, Little Rock, St. Louis, Nashville, or Jacksonville, give us a call today. That is, do you want to pull up that number, Bryce?
Sure can.
That is 281-968-3100, 281-968-3100. Again, if you live in a market that we've not talked about today, though, Kameel and her fantastic team at Rig on Wheels have opportunities all across the 48 states. Call today and absolutely talk to us, and I hope to welcome you as a new coworker sooner rather than later.
Yes, absolutely. And you can go directly to the website at rigonwheels.com and complete the Intella app as well. So, of course, 281-968-3100, or go directly to the website at rigonwheels.com. And remember to follow us at on YouTube at Rig on Wheels. So click and subscribe, not describe. So we have quite a few questions that are coming in that Bryce.
We do.
But
All
one
right.
second before we get to those questions, I have a scenario question.
Okay.
So this didn't come in, but I have a scenario. So who wants to take the question? Amy, you want to take the question?
Amy does. Amy wants
Oh,
it.
okay.
Okay,
Yes,
Amy.
I'll take it.
And this is like Jeopardy, maybe. Okay. So what experience does Beth need if her son, Chris, has 2 months experience and they want a team?
So we do have an opportunity for, they want a team.
They want a team. Her son's name is Chris.
He has 2 months experience.
He has 2 months experience. How much experience does Beth have? That's his mother.
So if we do have opportunities for one-time training. So if his mother does have 18 months of experience,
18 months.
She can be a one-time trainer, and she can train her son.
Okay, there we go.
The key on that is looking at a safe and stable work history. So as an example, if Beth has 9 jobs in the last 3 years, 3 tickets, 2 accidents, that may not be a fit. So the key and caveat to this is having a safe and stable work history. By safe and stable, look, if people make mistakes, if you have an accident, that may not be a problem. If you have a ticket, that might not be a problem. If you go, I've worked at a couple places that didn't work out for me, but now, as an example, in the case of Beth, I want to work and train with my son. There may be an opportunity there. The key piece of this is when you have that discussion is to give your recruiter the full story as far as what you're looking at. Again, when MVT may be the option, may not be the option, but if you have that full discussion, that's where that clarity in the beginning, because at the end of the day, no one wants their time wasted. Your time is precious.
Absolutely.
More than anything else. And so Beth would be a good fit there. If she's got that 18 months and a safe, stable work history, let's have a new coworker.
You know what I like the best of what you just said? If anybody doesn't know, I do have a new grandboy. He'll be 4 months in less than 2 weeks. He'll be 4 months. I got to show you pictures, about 200 of them. I'll airdrop it to you. But what I like the most about what you said is Beth needs to be a professional driver in order to train her son, Chris. Because if I'm driving down 45 with Makai in the back seat, right? I don't need Beth to be just a driver, because I don't advocate for just truck drivers. I advocate for professional truck drivers. So if Beth is a professional truck driver, I'm all for it. But if she's just a regular truck driver, I do not need her training Chris, and I have my new grandboy. That's just not going to work for me. So that is the best thing. So the minimum experience is 18 months, but the best thing to talk about is we need Beth to have 18 months and be a professional driver. Okay.
Now, our normal experience though with a driver is going to be 6 months. We do take recent grads out of the DFW area as well as Nashville. Additionally, though, if you are in any other market and you are a driver looking at a job, you need to have 6 months tractor trailer experience in the last year or 1 year in the last 3 years. We also have the opportunity that if you can show that you have 3 years verifiable tractor experience in the last 10 years, we can work with you on that. So as an example, let's say that you've not been in the industry for a while, you've been out for 6 years, but you're able to get us the information that we'll need to verify that you were working at XYZ Trucking 6 years ago for 3 years. That's an opportunity for you to get back in the truck, a real opportunity to reestablish yourself as a driver, where in a lot of companies, they'll look at you as a student and won't be able to count that experience.
Absolutely. Okay, Bryce, let's talk about it. We're nearing the end, so let's talk about those questions that you have.
I'm ready. I do got a quick one for Pierson first. What is the fur babies policy? Are pets allowed?
Yes, they are. They are allowed. We absolutely appreciate fur babies. The terminology varies from which state you're in, but yes, we absolutely do have people that have pets. The key on that end is there's a deposit. That deposit's made for the truck, the availability of that truck to be detailed, because obviously some people may be allergic to your fur baby, and so we want to make sure that that truck is in complete detailed condition once the animal is outside of the vehicle. But with that said, absolutely. If you've ever had a cat, a dog, they're a member of the family. You want them with you and that ability to take them with you on the road. We have a lot of folks on the road actively with us right now that have the quote unquote fur babies in the truck with them. We can always go into detail. It's always different from one person to the next. Additionally, we have people that use them as emotional support animals as well. So if you have the documentation to support your animal as a emotional support animal, we can also skip that fee and have the opportunity for you to be on the road with your pet.
That's good to know. Always some good nuggets you drop.
One an episode, one.
Just one.
Just one. Let's not get stressed.
I probably had Pierson say for the first time ever fur babies.
You got it.
No, never mind. Keep going.
Amy, I've got a question for you. Is there a minimum guaranteed mileage or pay?
No, we don't have a guaranteed pay.
I will say this. So this is the nice thing of what we do, engineered lanes.
Yes.
Hey, Bryce, could you bring up Division 300 for me? Would you have access to that? Not right away, but can you work on bringing up Division 300?
I can definitely do that.
So one of the things that we do is we do engineered lanes where we're pre-planning out 2 to 3 loads in advance. So as an example, let's say that you lived in DFW or Denver, Albuquerque, or El Paso. In this particular division, you are literally going counterclockwise. So from El Paso, you're going to get to DFW to Denver, and then back south towards El Paso. On this particular division, 70% of what we do is drop and hook. Technically, we're close to about 80% on this division. That allows you the consistency in your pay. So it's not necessarily a minimum pay guarantee. If you're available to work, though, you know that run right there, that loop runs approximately 2,100 to 2,400 miles. That's incorrect. That's about 1,800, excuse me. You're going to get home every 4 to 4.5 days. You're going to do a 34-hour reset, and you're going to do that run all over again. Most of our divisions are set up in that type of format where you're doing an engineered lane, point A to point B to point C to point D to point A. When you do that, that is what gives you the consistency in the pay that you're looking for when you ask about a guaranteed minimum. So as an example, somebody on Division 300 here is making about $85,000 a year annually. When I put that average at $85,000 a year, what I mean by that is that 95% of people on this division that run a full 12 months with us will be within $2,500 plus or minus of that $85,000 a year, because naturally with us doing the engineered lanes, that allows for us to have that type of consistency. That's the advantage of engineered lanes versus just running irregular routes all around the country. The other benefit, though, is when you look at a division like this, you're going, well, that looks dedicated. Dedicated does not mean better. Dedicated means that you have a single customer. On Division 300, we technically have 18 different customers that we utilize to run that division. So the nice thing is, let's say that you go and you work for XYZ Trucking and it's a dedicated account and you hate the customer. Well, that stinks because that's the job. You signed up for the dedicated account. It means you hate the job. With us having 18 different and not being solely reliant on one singular customer, you got 17 other customers in Division 300 as an example that you're relying on for freight. The job is not necessarily the customer is not necessarily the job. It is all the customers combined. So you get consistency in the pay, you get consistency in the miles, and you get consistency from a customer standpoint of established direct customers. So yes, we don't have a guaranteed minimum, but naturally because of the engineered lanes, your pay is going to be very consistent from week in to week out. The question is, are you available to go? And if you get out on the road, are you able to do it in a professional manner? We've brought the customer base to the party. Let's have some fun.
I like that. That's funny. It tickled me. But yeah, I like that. Any other questions, Bryce?
I've got one more. Pearson, are there any performance-based incentives?
Yeah. It varies a little bit depending on the division and the nature of the division, though. Division 400 is one that we pointed to today out of Nashville as an example. We have another division out of Texas, Division 330, which we most likely in a couple weeks will be sharing as a hot job that also has that. That really relies on you. It's on a monthly basis, though, and it basically you don't have tickets, you don't have accidents for the month, you're on time leaving the house, you're on time getting to the customer. There's a productivity bonus related to that generally represents anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 a year if you hit those bonuses. The goal is for you to hit that bonus. There's no tricks, there's no caveats. It is laid out to you. So when you're a recruiter, one of the things that we do that's unique compared to most companies is we literally do a signed conditional offer letter with you before you ever show up to orientation. So any promises, any pay specifics, any running lane specifics is reviewed with you in detail and on paper. So, sometimes recruiter, I joke, in trucking is Latin for liar. People feel like they've been done wrong by their recruiter at some point. Everything that we tell you we're going to do, we will literally put in writing before you ever step foot on our premises.
I like that.
It creates a level
Put it in
of
black and white.
trust right in the beginning.
I like that. So we are at the end. Bryce, you have been terrific. So we like that. But Amy, I want to thank you for coming. Thank you. I'm thanking you. It must be the coffee that allowed you to bring her.
The coffee and using some miles.
Yeah. So, but thank you guys very much for staying with us till the end. We really appreciate you. We want you to stay safe out there. Tomorrow is May 1st, and we're just getting closer and closer to June.
Wow, it's happening quick.
Yeah, the next thing we know is going to be December. Yeah.
And we'll have a calendar for 2025.
Yeah, and we'll have a calendar for 2025. So we're so excited about that, literally. So any last words that you MVT people want to say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, thank you for allowing me to join here. It's my first time in Houston, actually.
Oh,
long way from El Paso, Texas, but thank you everybody for listening, and I hope to be on again.
Yes, absolutely.
Take care.
Such a treat.
Absolutely. Take care of yourself and each other. Be sure to tune in again next Tuesday, 3:00 Central Time, 2:00 Mountain Time, and we'll do this all over again. We'll get to talk about our fantastic equipment. We'll have 3 new hot jobs to go over and a whole bunch of other information. Looking forward to it. And like I said before, let's welcome some new coworkers to MVT.
All right. Bye, guys.